Continuing to cover the major equipment used by the militaries of the Baltic nations, we now take a look at the tracked reconnaissance combat vehicles used by Latvia. These vehicles were acquired second-hand from the British military, and some have since been donated from Latvia to Ukraine. Looking to the future, these old IFVs will be replaced by brand new ASCOD IFVs from General Dynamics Europe Land Systems. The origin of Latvia's Combat Vehicle Reconnaissance Tracked or CVR-T fleet goes back over a decade. It was in 2014 that the UK Ministry of Defence sold its surplus combat reconnaissance armoured vehicles to the Latvian Armed Forces. CVR-Ts are small, highly mobile, air-transportable armoured vehicles used for various tasks including reconnaissance, patrolling, fire support and evacuation. The deal, according to armytechnology.com, was valued at £39.4 million, and it was a package covering a total of 123 vehicles and their overhaul and refurbishment. Later reporting said that the amount was €48.1 million, which may be the exact same amount but converted into a different currency. Other reporting mentioned that out of the 123 vehicles, only 116 were actually modernized. The other 7, which were not modernized, were set aside for training. Significant refurbishment and overhaul work was needed as the vehicles were previously used by the UK Army on operations around the world, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Iraq and Afghanistan. Speaking at the NATO summit in Wales, UK Defence Secretary Michael Fallon said, "This is just one way we are supporting our Baltic NATO allies. As a leading member of NATO, the UK is keen to restate publicly our support for the collective security of its members and enable our partners to contribute to international peacekeeping and security operations." It's important to remember the historical context of this deal, as Russia had annexed Crimea several months prior to this news being announced. Indeed, the 2014 move by Vladimir Putin had triggered significant increases in defense spending in Latvia, Lithuania and Estonia, just as the more recent invasion of Ukraine has done as well. The CVRTs were deemed surplus to UK Army requirements following the force's Strategic Defence and Security Review in 2010. The British Army has since replaced these old vehicles with the Ajax, just as Latvia will be doing over 10 years later with its own ASCOD variant. Designed by Alvis, the CVR-T is a family of mobile air-transportable armoured fighting vehicles or AFV comprising Scorpion, Spartan, Sultan, Samson and Scimitar tanks, and also the Saracen armoured personnel carrier and the Saladin vehicle. About a year later, in September 2015, Latvia took delivery of its first 4 CVRTs purchased from the United Kingdom. The first batch would be used for training and familiarization purposes before the full complement of 123 vehicles would arrive. Latvian Defence Minister at the time, Raimonds Bergmanis, had this to say about the delivery. "This is an important step towards strengthening Latvia's self-defense capacity because the upgraded vehicles that will be equipped with the best anti-tank weapons will significantly improve the combat capacity and mobility of the infantry brigade." The CVRTs were delivered to Latvia in several batches between 2016 and 2020. In 2021, Latvia ordered an additional batch of 86 vehicles, which were delivered in 2022. In 2018, it was reported that Latvia would be purchasing Israel-made Spike anti-tank guided missiles for its CVRTs at a cost of €108 million. Rafael was the prime contractor in this agreement, but Diehl Defence and Rheinmetall were also involved in the production of the missile systems as subcontractors. Notably, Spike is fielded by a few dozen countries including Lithuania, Poland, Finland and Germany. Rafael said at the time that more than 23,000 Spike systems had been purchased worldwide. Most recently, in late 2024, the Ministry of Defence of Latvia announced that it would transfer a part of the CVR-T family of combat vehicles to Ukraine. The number of vehicles was not disclosed due to security reasons. As we mentioned earlier, the CVR-T family of vehicles divides into several variants. It was reported that Latvia took the FV-103 Spartan, FV-107 Scimitar, FV-105 Sultan, the FV-106 Samson, and FV-104 Samaritan. The Spartan is the armoured personnel carrier variant, which can accommodate a total of 7, a crew of 3 and 4 in the rear compartment. The Scimitar carries a 30mm cannon as its main weapon, with secondary armaments being a coaxial machine gun and multi-barreled smoke grenade discharges. The Sultan is the command and control variant with a higher roof than the APC variants, providing a more comfortable office space inside. Around the same time as the first deliveries, Latvian names were given to the CVR-T variants. The names come from submissions made by 178 students from all regions of Latvia who participated in the naming competition organized by the Ministry of Defense. As their reward, the winners of the naming competition received a ride in the armored personnel carriers during the event. And so, the Combat Command and Control Armored Personnel Carrier Sultan was named Virsaitis. In English, this means chief. The Reconnaissance Combat Vehicle Scimitar was named Zorbens, which means sword. And the Armored Personnel Carrier Spartan was named Parkons, which means thunder. The Evacuation and Repair Armored Personnel Carrier Samson was named Vairogs, and the Medical Armored Personnel Carrier Samaritan was named Glabes. Respectively, these mean shield and savior. There has been some interesting debate in the comment section about spending more and ordering the most modern equipment versus buying equipment second-hand at a lower per-unit cost. In the last few decades, the Baltic nations have gone for the latter option in many cases. Estonia's K9 self-propelled artillery are second-hand, as are Lithuania's PZH-2000s from Germany. Latvia's M109s, being decades old and used by several countries, were acquired for an extremely low price as well. These days, the Baltics have significantly increased defense spending and have more often opted for brand new equipment. On one hand, delivery times tend to be much quicker for used equipment, and upgrade and refurbishment work can make old vehicles just as effective as new ones. However, despite longer delivery times, brand new vehicles are likely to be more reliable and include the very latest technology, which can prove extremely important in real-world combat. What are your thoughts on Latvia's decision to acquire the used CVRTs from the UK? And do you think the Ascot platform is the right choice as a replacement? Let us know by leaving a comment.